I would appraise this book actually at about $40,000.
Let me tell you, you are lucky.
You probably saved my job.
Well, you can thank me with some chocolate or something.
You probably remember her as the calm one. No drama, no ego. Just a quiet voice, a careful glance at the paper, and a number that could make or break a deal. I'd appraise this book at about $40,000, she said once. Rick grinned. You probably saved my job. She smiled back. Well, you can thank me with some chocolate or something. On Pawn Stars, Rebecca Romney looked like the perfect expert. Then, in 2014, a rare religious book walked into the shop, and the story shifted from light TV entertainment to whispered FBI questions and a sudden disappearance. The show never explained. This is what happened to the book lady after the cameras cut. Rebecca Romney wasn't supposed to end up in a pawn shop under neon lights. She was born on April 6, 1985, in Phoenix, Arizona. No old libraries, no dusty archives, no millionaire collectors. She once said old books seemed like relics for old men. She wanted philosophy, languages, ideas. By her early 20s, she had what most people never get: real depth. English, French, Japanese, Latin, ancient Greek, even Old English. She wasn't just into books. She could read them in the languages they were born in. From 2003 to 2007, she studied philosophy and classical studies at BYU. While most students clung to safe majors, she spent nights decoding Plato in the original Greek and arguing about free will in classrooms that emptied long after dark. She graduated with honors, perfect grades. A thesis comparing ancient fragments of the Republic. The sort of thing almost nobody reads, and yet it quietly laid the foundation for everything that came next. In 2007, she answered a job ad she didn't understand. She thought she was applying for a management position. Instead, she walked into Bauman Rare Books in Philadelphia and realized this wasn't retail. It was the high-stakes world of rare books. Objects worth more than houses. Items you hold with gloves, or not at all. She told them the truth. I don't know anything about rare books. They hired her anyway. Within months, she was handling a Shakespeare First Folio. A leaf from the Gutenberg Bible, early Newton. One mistake could cost 6 figures. She learned fast. By 2010, she was running the Las Vegas branch. At 26. By 29, she was a senior director, overseeing millions in inventory and sales. That's the person Rick Harrison called. Not a TV expert, but the woman he already trusted, with the kind of paper you don't let amateurs touch. When Rebecca first appeared on Pawn Stars in 2011, the audience didn't know any of that. They just saw a young woman in glasses standing over Civil War documents, calmly slicing through the story with facts. She checked the paper, the ink, the print method. Then, in 10 minutes, knocked a $10,000 fantasy down to a few hundred. No theatrics, no shouting, just quiet authority. Ratings climbed. Viewers wanted more of her. Soon, anytime paper walked into the shop, early maps, slave trade documents, presidential letters, first editions, Rebecca was the one they called. She authenticated a Confederate bond, explained the brutal history attached to it, and warned about legal baggage. She identified fakes that could have cost the shop thousands. She valued real treasures, like Darwin's The Origin of Species, at tens of thousands of dollars. She even saved Chumley's job. Pete spent $500 on a signed Charles Lindbergh book without checking anything. Everyone assumed he'd been scammed. Rebecca compared the signature to authentic examples, explained how Lindbergh's autograph changed over the years, and confirmed it was real, worth triple what Chumley paid. One segment, one signature, one job saved. The pattern repeated. Someone walks in with paper. Rick calls Rebecca. She glances once, and the whole room waits for whatever comes out of her mouth. Between 2011 and 2015, she appeared in roughly 20-plus episodes, not just as a prop, but as the person who could turn a $24,000 gamble into a $75,000 win or stop a 5-figure disaster before it started. And then came the Mormon book. In 2014, a man walked into gold and silver with an 1841 Book of Mormon, a rare edition, potentially worth a fortune. On camera, it played like any other segment. Rebecca examined it. She talked about its age, context, scarcity. She appraised it around $40,000. The seller wanted more. Rick did what Rick always does, bargained him down and bought it for roughly half that. To the casual viewer, it was just another good score. Then, the whispers started. Online, in collector circles and obscure forums, people claimed the book matched one missing from the Marriott Library at the University of Utah. The story goes like this. After the episode aired, federal agents took an interest. The FBI allegedly seized the book, tracing it back to a theft. No official statement, no public charges, no press release. Just a rumor that wouldn't die. And in those same whispers, one name kept surfacing. Rebecca. If a stolen book made it on air, how? Why didn't anyone catch it? Who checked the provenance? Sometime late in 2014, according to the rumor mill, federal agents questioned her, not as a suspect, but as the expert. How does a 6-figure, rare religious book walk onto national television without setting off alarm bells? She was never accused of wrongdoing. But in a world built on trust and expertise, a quiet FBI conversation can cast a very long shadow. On January 10th, 2015, she appeared in what turned out to be her last regular episode. A pirate book, a $1,000 value. Rick haggled it down to $400. Everyone laughed. Fade to black. There was no farewell episode. No on-air goodbye. No, Rebecca is leaving the show to pursue other opportunities. She was just gone. Fans noticed. Message boards lit up. Where did Rebecca go? Was she fired? Was it the Book of Mormon thing? The History Channel said nothing. Rick said nothing. Rebecca said almost nothing. Officially, she went back east in 2016, promoted within Bauman Rare Books, then eventually leaving to co-found her own firm, Type Punch Matrix, outside Washington, D.C. Career-wise, it made sense. More control, more prestige, more money, less reality TV. But the timing is what stuck with people. Book scandal in 2014. Last episode in early 2015. Quiet exit. No explanation. And yet, on her professional profiles, she still lists herself as rare book expert for Pawn Stars. 2011 present. On paper, the connection never quite ended. Maybe it's just branding. Maybe it's a contract. Maybe it's part of an agreement none of us are allowed to see. Whatever it is, it kept her tied to a show she walked away from years ago. While the show moved on to other experts, Rebecca did something most TV personalities never do. She became more respected after leaving. She co-wrote Printer's Error, a sharp, funny dive into the dark side of book history. Forgeries, stolen Bibles, Dickens suing pirates, Gutenberg without his own name in his own Bible. It wasn't celebrity fluff. It was real, researched work. It sold well. Critics liked it. Then she began something the old guard of collecting didn't quite know what to do with: the Honey and Wax Prize. $1,000 every year to women under 30 with the most creative personal collections. Tattoo artists, analysts. In 2019, she launched Type Punch Matrix with Brian Cassidy. Out of a modest office in Silver Spring, Maryland, they started moving serious material: early Shakespeare, 20th century firsts, feminist history, radical texts nobody else thought to put front and center. They sold to big institutions. They did 6- and 7-figure deals. And they hired a team. Meanwhile, she was tracking something most people had never even noticed: the quiet erasure of women from literary history. That became Jane Austen's bookshelf, released in 2025, a 300-plus page demolition of the idea that Austen wrote in a vacuum. Rebecca dug up the women Austen read: Frances Burney, Anne Radcliffe, Charlotte Smith, and showed how their books had been allowed to rot out of print, disappear from syllabi, or survive in tiny percentages while male authors were preserved and reprinted. For once, she wasn't reacting to someone else's object. She was building the case herself. So what really happened to Rebecca Romney? On the surface, it's simple. She got busy. She moved up. She outgrew a TV show. Underneath, there are questions that will probably never be answered on camera. How real was that Book of Mormon deal? Did the FBI really walk in off-screen? Did the show decide it was easier to let a calm, precise expert quietly slip away than to explain how a stolen book might have made it onto air? We may never know. What we do know is this: the woman you saw on Pawn Stars was exactly who she appeared to be. Careful, precise, deeply informed. The difference now is that she doesn't do that work for a pawn shop anymore. She does it for collectors, libraries, museums, and for the ghosts of writers whose names the world forgot. Pawn Stars gave her a spotlight, but everything she's done since proves she didn't need it to matter.